Just giving a little bit more background about my life so you can kind of have a feel for what I went through. And Alpha has honestly helped me on my journey of freedom. I can't thank many of you here have helped me, speak life into me. Adam and Jason, I love you. You both like my parents, so thank you. So if you didn't know, I'm from Birmingham, so yeah, mind the accent. I just thank God, honestly, for helping me find freedom. I never thought I'd actually be free. I'll just tell you about my life. So I was raised in a Christian household. My dad was a minister, but he lived a double life. So he wasn't much of a help. My mum had to do everything by herself. So that meant when my mum would often work 2 jobs and I had a babysitter that often took advantage of me when I was a child and also exposed me to things that a child should not experience. On top of that, I went through school and I went through a lot of bullying in school, so I used to isolate myself. I was quite depressed. I was a lonely child. And I used to just cry. I know that the topic's on tears, but I used to spend my childhood crying. I hated my life. I never realised who I was. I never realised the value that I had because I didn't have that. No one ever spoke life into me as a child. So I often was raised in a household that was just confusing. It was chaotic. It was a lot of shouting, a lot of fighting. So I was brought up very aggressive because that's all I knew to fight. And that's how I learned to just fight. So that meant my mum would be working 2 jobs. So that means I had little siblings. So I had to basically be mum at home whilst my mum was at work. So I was like the little sister, but the mum. So that meant I had a lot of trauma and a lot of pain, a lot of rejection. I was quite suicidal as a child. I remember I used to write suicidal letters to my mum and be like, I just want to end my life because what it was life. But I didn't see the point of life. So moving on, I got through school and then I got involved in drugs. So I used to be smoking a lot of weed. That was just my escape from reality because I experienced a lot of trauma. I was like, you know what, this is just my escape. So at 17, I just started hanging around with the wrong crowds. I was actually going to become a drug dealer at one point, believe it or not. I moved to Manchester. It's the truth, I actually wanted to be a drug dealer. I was like, this is my reality. I was like, you might as well. I moved to Manchester for uni, and again, I continued that life, partying, smoking, drinking. That was just my reality, and I loved it. I loved partying. I loved it because I was escaping from this world, this life. But then you just get so sick and tired of it. And I remember, like, just before the pandemic, I was partying. I was like, what am I actually doing with my life? What am I actually doing? I remember me and my friendship group, it just broke down. And I was in a dark place. And I remember, like, when I was with my friend, she actually attacked me in my house that we shared with best friends. So that also just brought me to a place where I was like, I'm sick of life. I'm done. And because we were during the pandemic, I was just finished and I was quite low, but God sent help and He sent a friend to really speak life into me, and I never thought that I was even worth it. She tried, like Pearl, she's not here today, but Pearl, my friend from university, she was like, Devina, come to church, join Alpha, and I said, there's no way I'm doing that. You're not getting me to be around church people because I don't like them. I don't like church people. Like, I was raised in church. There's no way I'm going to be around church people because they're fake. I was like, I'm not around them people. I was like, I'm not going back to church. So there's no point. But she never stopped. She always spoke life. Like, every single time she was like, Devina, come on. She always spoke life to me, and I would just be like, whatever. Like, God can't save me. Like, seriously. I was like, do you know my life? I was like, God cannot save me. God can't do it. So went on, and about 2 years ago, so 2.5 years ago, I actually came to church with her. I said, I'm only joining if you're with me. So she was like, yeah, sit by me. And I remember coming to church and I didn't even care what the message was. I said, I just sat there. But it was the community that really brought me into church, because I wasn't listening. I was like, I don't care about it. But I remember speaking to you, Adam and JC, and you was like, you spoke some beautiful, I can't remember, but you spoke life into me. And you said, just join Alpha. And I was like, no. There's no way I'm joining Alpha.
Yeah.
Like, no. I said, no.
that.
And they were like, just give it a try. You're going to be with Pearl, and it's online. So I was like, oh. Just so that they can get off my back, I'll join Alpha, and I do it just so that you just stop bugging me. I joined Alpha. So I joined Alpha, and I used to just sit in a black screen. They'd be like, Devina, you there? Yeah. I remember, yeah, I'm there. But I remember slowly I started asking questions, and I got more curious about who God was and about faith. So I was like, okay, it might be a nice thing. Then I did another round, and it was the testimonies from other people that have walked this journey of life that spoke life to me. And I remember a time where I said, I'm sick of being a victim and I just want victory. And when I made that choice, I felt that God was breaking chains off me, like shame.
Amen.
Breaking like guilt off me, all that pain. I just felt like God was just slowly healing me, and that was like the start of my healing journey that God has taken me on. I also did the freedom course that also helped me to find out the root causes of my pain and to start my healing journey. And also Alpha has allowed me to really speak life into people, because I never thought that, you know, I could even speak to people, because I used to be quite shy and nervous, and I used to be quite shy and nervous. But honestly, this journey has been beautiful. I remember, because I hated my family, let me just go back, I hated my family, and I remember my granddad recently passed away, and we had his funeral, and my dad actually came over and paid a surprise visit, and I didn't really like him. Like, I used to be like, there's no way I'm even talking to that man. But as soon as I opened the door to my granddad's house, he was standing in front of me. I literally embraced him with a hug, and I was like, God, you know what? I actually forgive this man, even though he's rejected me and never showed that love. Even though he rejected me and didn't show me that love, it's like God has given me a love that honestly I was able to embrace him and talk to him, and actually, like, you know what, Dad, I actually forgive you for all the pain and the hurt that you've caused in my life. And I'm just thanking God that I'm actually free. Even though I walk through dark times, honestly, God has given me joy. He's exchanged my pain for joy. I can't thank Jesus more than enough. I can't. Honestly, there's times I'm jumping around and shaking, I'm screaming with joy, because I'm like, God, you've literally transformed my life.
So good.
That child that used to cry the tears and used to go through the pain, now I'm just like, God, thank you for taking me on that journey of healing. And if you are struggling, God can heal your pain.
Amen.
And
Amen.
just give it to Jesus. Honestly, God he's great. I can't thank him enough. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah.